The reason I'm here is this law was passed about a year ago in July of 2011, and basically it allows the governor to appoint a corporation that is responsible for the disposition of public lands, selling and developing public lands, and supposedly it was set up to streamline this process, and so as a result it gives the public a lot less participation in the decisions made by this group. We believe this law just kind of snuck under the radar a year ago, and we lost a lot of our rights due to this law in protecting our public land. So we want to see this law repealed.
The citizens' confidence in government. I also think that it sets up the government to compete with private enterprise at the expense of our public lands. And frankly, I don't agree with that, and we'll fight that all the way down the line.
It's just that I'm totally against this Act 55. I think we just giving the state or whoever a license to kill. Well, it's very important. More people should be here. It's very important for our future generations. If we set this now, to unbreak this is going to be almost impossible.
I'm a resident of Hawaii. I live in Haiku in the moku of Hamakua Loa, and I've been a farmer for most of my life. So the Public Land Development Corporation is just what it sounds like. A corporation is going to develop public land, and of course the thing we know about corporations is that they are beholden to their shareholders. Now right now public lands are owned by the people in common, and that's how I'd like it to stay. So it's pretty simple. Keep public land public, don't privatize it. The state is saying that it needs to form the Public Land Development Corporation because the state is saying it needs to fund itself with the sale of public lands. I disagree. What we're seeing is a large budget shortfall in OHA and DHHL, Department of Hawaiian Homelands, as well as a massive debt hole to the state pension holders and their health program. $21 billion. So the state's trying to make up revenue sources. I do not agree with selling public land to increase the state's revenue, nor do I agree with the proposed undersea cable. Now, whenever the undersea cable comes ashore, it's going to be crossing state jurisdiction. The shoreline is property of the state of Hawaii under the jurisdiction of the Department of Land and Natural Resources, which is the same jurisdiction that is controlled by the new Public Land Development Corporation. So what we're going to see is the Public Land Development Corporation smoothing the way for the undersea cable, which most of the people I speak with, and I'm a candidate for office, so I speak with a lot of people. Everybody I've spoken with does not agree with the undersea cable, taking our resources, paid for by us, and taking our resources to Oahu. So from what I can tell, the PLDC is not very good. It's not going to make our lives any better, and it's going to privatize public resources. It changes the mission of the DLNR from to conserve and protect to one of a for-profit. Exploit and profit. The Department of Land and Natural Resources mission is to preserve and protect state land. The Public Land Development Corporation's mission is to commoditize and sell state land. So those two things directly contradict each other, and so right from the get-go, it's a bad idea. It's a bad idea. It needs to be repealed. Today we're here at the County Council building, 200 High Street, to support the County Council with a resolution to repeal the Public Land Development Corporation. So the County Council will resolve to ask the legislature to repeal Act 55. So we hope the legislature will do that, and we hope the governor will not veto their decision, because the governor's been pushing this to further his agenda for the undersea cables and big wind, in my opinion. And there's a lot to it. I'm not going to go into it a whole bunch more, but those are the facts. That's what's happening. Undersea cables and the Public Land Development Corporation are going to be pretty much one and the same. We do not support that here in the Outer Islands. Most of us, we believe in home rule. We do not want Oahu determining the fate of our public lands. Even though it's the state of Hawaii, it's still the moku of Maui Nui, and we want to determine our own future. Thank you very much.
Anyway, I was saying we're here to repeal Act 55 and the Public Land Development Corporation. They want to be above the law and be exempt from any environmental impact statements, which is a bad thing. And this will open the doorway for the windmills to now come into Molokai and Lanai, and for the undersea cable to power Oahu. And then when does it stop? What happens when Waikiki doesn't have water? Oh, you know what? We'll just make a pipeline from Kauai, the wettest place on earth, and let's bring water to Waikiki so that we can keep the hotels in Waikiki going, because it's so good for the economy, right? So it doesn't ever end. And if Oahu has a problem with energy, then they need to figure it out in a contained island. You can't be using resources from someplace else. That is not being a good steward of what you have been given. So we're here in opposition of Act 55, and we want to abolish the PLDC.
The PLDC, Public Land Development Corporation, is a state entity created by Hawaii State Senate, who passed that act in one day, by Hawaii State House of Representatives that passed the act another day. And on the third day, the governor of Hawaii, Neil Abercrombie, cleared his desk of this act, and it went into effect 2011. The DLNR, Department of Land and Natural Resources, does need money. Do you believe this is the way they should get it? Please call, write, email, phone, fax, anybody who's scrolling across the lower half of the screen right now. That's the state of representatives, the Senate, our governor, the PLDC board themselves, all those board members. The public land optimization plan is out there. Everything is online. If you can't get to it there, please go to your public library. Elections are here. We have elected people already in office, and there's an election coming up. Here's hoping you'll become involved and take action by Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. There are so many forums to get a hold and state your opinion. This is Marie Allman reporting and asking you to vote and vote wisely.
Been around enough to know that God is in control. And I'm always messing up the flow, and I know life